Can you tell us a little about your skills?
My skills?
That's right. What sort of skills would you bring to the Justice Gang?
Besides blowing dudes.
Very fitting that I decided to wear my Superman shirt today. This was unintentional, by the way. So, James Gunn is back at it again, and he wastes no time reminding us why Peacemaker became one of DC's boldest, funniest, and most surprising shows. So, episode 1 of season 2 dives headfirst into that chaos, self-reflection, and proving once again that Christopher Smith, played brilliantly by John Cena, is more than just a walking punchline. So, with this is the recap and breakdown and copy of Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1. So, the episode opens with an unexpected twist. They show you previously on the DCU, and I guess before we get into this, by the way, too, this is going to clearly contain spoilers for the episode, so if you haven't watched it, go watch that first. But it starts off by showing you that the end credits scene, or whatever, like end scene of the final episode of Season 1, I guess not end credits, this is the final season, Season 1, where they're saving everybody and the Justice League shows up, and you have Aquaman and the Flash talk to Peacemaker and stuff. It has now all been replaced. So the characters, we got some zoom in shots of them I'll put up here. So we know Supergirl is there, Superman, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl. And Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl get some lines here, and that's basically them being like, hey, we're retconning this final scene, and instead in the DCU, this is how it actually happened. After this, the episode officially opens up where Peacemaker follows eagerly into an alternate dimension where his father is actually still alive. And unlike our Peacemaker, this alternate version never killed his dad, and the revelation shakes him to his core, and he runs. Right from the start, Gunn sets up one of these season's major themes, confronting past trauma and what it means to choose a different path in life. Then we get the Justice Gang audition, which was from the trailer, and I actually didn't realize it was going to be this early. I figured maybe it'd be episode 1 or 2, but not this early in episode 1. And Peacemaker wants to prove that he's more than a violent joke, so he auditions for the Justice Gang. You got this funny banter back and forth where he hears what they were saying the whole time, but instead of earning their respect, like I said, he's mocked and humiliated and forced into a brutal reality that he's not really going to be a real hero like he wants to be. Then, Amelia Harcourt is having a tough time. She's diagnosed with one of the funniest jokes in the episode, toxic masculinity, by her therapist, and she vents her frustration by literally punching her car dashboard and intentionally starting a bar fight. And her pain feels heavier this season, hinting at deeper issues bubbling beneath the surface, because we learn that Amanda Waller, behind the scenes, is messing with them getting jobs. This is when Peacemaker hits a breaking point, because after being laughed at by the Justice Gang and reeling from his father's existence in another universe, Peacemaker then spirals, and in classic James Gunn fashion, we'll get a cocaine-fueled orgy. It's very wild, and it actually pretty much signifies and shows you that Peacemaker is confirmed now to be bisexual. And thought that whole scene was wild, just kind of came out of nowhere. Absolutely insane. There's a lot of fucking. Now I want to tackle this too and go back a little bit. So the opening credits scene shocked everybody in season 1 with Wing Wham's Do You Want to Taste It? And this time the opening credits switched to Oh Lord by Foxy Shazam. And I feel like the surprise factor is kind of gone, and it's definitely more of a slower pace to, I guess, the tone of this. I don't know how I feel about it. I gotta watch the intro a few more times. It's definitely not as fun, I can say that, as the season 1 intro. Back to this slower vibe, you have this more introspective tone where Peacemaker and Harcourt have a few meaningful moments between the ridiculous choreography in this dance, and Frank Grillo joins in, and that part's pretty funny. Now, the episode ends up wrapping up at a gut punch, because after sharing drinks with his brother, who is now alive, my boy Keith, and Auggie in an alternate universe, Peacemaker crosses paths with his alternate self, and tensions explode, and he actually kills himself. Kind of chilling callback in a way to Rick Flagg's death in Suicide Squad. And another good guy is dying by his hand, and once again he's forced to question if he's capable of being the hero that he wants to be. And so this episode sets up a darker, more introspective season, while Gunn's trademark humor and absurdity are still present. You have that focus on Peacemaker clearly in his identity crisis, and survivor's guilt, and even tackles some of that in that jokey scene with the Justice Gang. And John Cena gives plenty of, like, he has plenty of room here to flex his acting chops, which is why I don't agree with that list that came out the other day saying that he was like number 3 as far as the wrestlers turned actors. John Cena is awesome. He's so good in this role, and you can just see it behind his eyes, like every time he's doing something this episode or anytime he's going somewhere, and you can just feel that he still holds that weight emotionally. So I can't wait to see how Rick Flag and him, whenever they butt heads, I'm sure it's going to happen this season, and how that's going to pan out. You know, I think episode 1 actually sets the stage for what looks like a more intimate, emotional, character-driven season, because a lot of the gang's not together, as we see that Vigilante's working somewhere, and him and Chris never even cross paths this entire episode. But Gunn's direction, sharp writing are funny and heartfelt and make you, know that you're in for something far more compelling than you're really going to get from other shows. And so with that, even in this episode kicked off bloody hilarious and started off emotionally, it's still not one of my favorite episodes necessarily of the show. But as a season clean slate, I think I'm going to give this episode a 8.5 out of 10. I think it's very solid, great start. I just needed to ramp up a little bit more as far as these character dynamics, because they're all kind of over the place. Like, most people are kind of doing their own solo thing. Cena and Harcourt have like one scene together, for example. And like I said, Vigilante has a phone call with Diebeard. I can't think of his name right now except for that. But I'm just saying I really need that team dynamic back, and I know that it's going to happen. But I love the twist of his brother being alive, because that's what I was thinking when they kept showing the trio scene in the show. I kept sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, is that supposed? Who's the third? And I was like, oh my God, his brother. And I was glad that I was right. And I don't know, this multiverse stuff in Marvel, I feel like it's kind of getting a little tiring. But I feel like if you're going to do it, this is how you do it. Like, we're just completely, something is different. And I feel like there's a lot of repercussions going to happen this season because, for example, how are the dad and brother going to react when they find out that their real son and brother is dead? Killed by this Peacemaker, because it clearly shows from the scenes that we get later on when the credits roll, showing us the scenes from this episode or this season, that he's going to be going over there. He's going to be taking his life, and I feel like that's going to be kind of crazy. But anyways, if you guys like this little brief recap, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and review, like, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys next week when we cover episode 2.
Did you airdrop it?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, bro,
shit.
really?
No, wrong one. Hold on.
God damn.
That's not my dick.